Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Di, and today I'm sharing with you my diary entry for the week of, what was it? May 28th through June 3rd. Today is Saturday, June 3rd. This is my fourth video that I'm recording today. And so, yeah, it has been a week. Just doing like wrap-ups and end of the month stuff and my normal videos every week. Just sometimes filming all of those videos in one day is kind of tough, but I much prefer like filming everything on one day as opposed to trying to film multiple videos at different times of the week. So yeah, in any case, I did finish quite a few things as far as reading goes. And so I'll be wrapping those up. Plus, I forgot to talk to you about another book that I read last week. So I've got to wrap that up here as well. So quite a few wrap-ups this week. I'll let you know where I am as far as what I am currently reading this week. I have a small knitting update to share with you. And I also have a small book haul to share. So let's get into it. So let's start with the one book that I forgot to tell you about last week. So I did finish Dreamfever, which is the fourth book in the Fever series by Karen Marie Moning, last week. This is a story that started with our main character, Mac, who at the beginning of book one finds out that her sister, who was away on a study abroad program, had been murdered, and the police end up not having any leads, so the case goes cold quite quickly. And so Mac uproots her life and heads to Ireland in hopes of finding out who killed her sister. And as she's doing that, she ends up finding out all these things that she had no idea about herself and her sister and some other things that exist in the world. So by this book, a lot of things have happened. And I think I had mentioned to you at the end of book 3 that I was kind of upset with how things played out. I felt like a lot of things could have been done to prevent what had happened at the end of book 3. And that I thought it was kind of suspicious that the author had to leave a note at the end of book 3 just saying stuff like, there's a light at the end of the darkness and things like that to kind of give the reader hope to things turning around. So yeah, the author definitely knew what she was doing when she wrote the things that had happened in book 3 the way she did. But in book 4, it kind of picks up directly after what happens in book 3. And the way things are handled at the beginning of book 4 is very questionable. I don't want to give away what happened, so I can't really go into specifics, but there's a sexual component that plays out at the very beginning of book 4, even at the end of book 3. But in book 4, it plays into the kind of remedy to the situation that Mac ends up in after book 3. And it's just very, I don't know that is acceptable. I just have very mixed feelings about the whole way that went down and if it was or wasn't rape. So there's that. I'm not going to say any more about that, but I'm just very uncomfortable with how that happened. And so, yeah, there was that. Obviously, Mac is pissed off for a good portion of this book because of things that had happened to her. And so I understand that anger, but at the same time, it's really, really hard to read a character who's just angry at everything. And so that didn't help my enjoyment of this book, even though I understood where she was coming from. she also, because of her anger, liked to push the limits a lot. And I don't like it when characters do that either. It was like her sense of rebellion. And she's in her early 20s, and I don't know. I don't understand that. I don't feel like that was the way to go about things. I don't know. I just didn't understand. I didn't enjoy what she was doing. I understood her anger, but I didn't understand why she was doing the things that she was doing. Is it just for rebellion? If so, even more so, I don't like that. So, yeah, I just had a hard time with this book. After she got past most of her anger, I would say, things started to pick up for me. We got more on track with this book that she's been trying to find since the first installment of the series. There were some questions that were brought up as to why the book seems to only appear to her and why it has never appeared to anybody else that has been looking for it this whole time. Because it's something that a lot of people are looking for, but it seems like only Mac has been able to even see it. Even if it's from a distance, it seems to only appear to her. So there's those questions that have been brought up in this installment, and I thought that was very interesting. And I'm looking forward to seeing why that is. Like, she's still like trying to find out things and trying to find the book, and obviously there's a big bad guy that's been pretty prominent throughout the whole series, but he's playing more of a role at the end of book 3 into book 4. And she's wondering where allegiances lie, and she's wondering why the two people that she trusted the most failed her in her greatest time of need. And something has happened at the end of book 4 that I know can't actually be what happens, but you're led to believe that something has happened. And so, I'm still interested in continuing the series. It's not bad by any means. It's just not as good as I was thinking that it was going to be for me. So I ended up giving Dreamfever 3 stars. I did jump into Shadow Fever, and I'll tell you a little bit about my thoughts on that when we get to what I'm currently reading. But yeah, I'm still interested in continuing. It's not bad, like I said. It's still entertaining. It's just not as good as I thought. So I'm hoping that the last book in the first arc will turn around for me, and that I will enjoy how this first arc ends. Because if I'm not mistaken, Janaea had told me that books 6 through 11 are still in the same world, but we don't follow Mac through those books. Or Mac's not the main character or something. I don't know. It's something like that, but it's a different arc. So yeah, 3 stars. It was entertaining, just not as good as I thought it was going to be. And so now we'll get into what I finished this week. So this week I finished Kara Alexander's Vacancy. This is a middle grade thriller about a girl who ends up moving to a new town. She has just lost her mother, and she has been having dreams about this hotel. So the hotel is here on the cover. It's called the Carlisle. She doesn't know why she's having dreams about it. In fact, before she moved to the town, she was having dreams about this hotel and didn't even realize that it was an actual hotel until she moved to the city or this town. And at the beginning of this book, she's at school with her newly made friends, and her friends are getting bullied by the school bully, and he issues them a dare to stay one night at this Carlisle hotel. It's vacant. It's been abandoned for years. It's kind of a tradition to have people stay one night as long as they can. And obviously, if you chicken out, right? And so her and her friends are kind of tossing out the idea of whether or not they want to take this guy up on his dare, and eventually they decide that they will, and they go to the hotel for the overnight stay. There are other people that are doing the challenge as well, but something is different about this time. There are other people there who have taken this challenge before, and even they feel like something's different this time around. And the tagline of this book says, "This hotel isn't just haunted, it's hungry." And so things start to happen while they're there, and I think that's where I'll leave my summary of this book. This was everything that I wanted it to be. I've been looking for a book like this for a while. I am very interested in like haunted house, haunted hotel type stories where people go into these places either to do a dare or to do ghost hunting or to do like sleep studies or experiments or things like that. I really want a book like that, and I've been searching for a while. All the ones that I've tried recently have just not hit the mark for me. And this, even though it wasn't perfect, was very close to what I wanted out of a book like this. And so I really enjoyed this one. I think for a person who is of the target age, who this book is being marketed to, this would have a really good level of creep factor. The audiobook was very good. I listened to it entirely on audiobook. I borrowed it from Hoopla, even though I do have a physical copy. The audio was very good. I think somebody who is of the target age for this book would have a good scare and really enjoy this. This also has a twist at the end, which I have read one other K.R. Alexander book, I think I told you before, which is called Bury Me, and even that one had a twist at the end. So I think that's kind of the author's writing style, is to include a twist at the end. This one definitely had a twist at the end, and I thought it was a really good twist. And it just was a very, very entertaining and enjoyable read. I ended up giving this one 4 stars. Highly recommend. And I'm looking forward to reading more of K.R. Alexander's work. The other book that I finished this week was Hide by Tracy Clark. This is the first book in the Detective Harriet Foster thriller series. This was a Kindle First Reads, and I had to read it as part of my TBR game. I'd mentioned to you last week that I had stopped listening to the audiobook, so I did complete this one physically or e-bookily. This is a story about our main character, Detective Harriet Foster. She has just come back to work after being on bereavement leave. Her partner, previously to where she is right now, had committed suicide. Her work partner. And so she was dealing with that, had gone through all the counseling, and has come back to work. She is assigned a new partner, and they immediately catch a case of a possible serial killer who seems to have a type. So on audio, this didn't really work for me. I was finding my attention being pulled in other directions. So I was having a hard time concentrating on the audio. So I'm really glad that I had the ebook copy as well, because at times where I had felt myself being pulled out of the book, I was able to go back and read those parts, and that worked out much better for me. There's just a bit of the way a couple of the characters were narrated that didn't jive with me. Especially one of the Chinese characters that comes in later in the book. And so that's kind of where my attention really dwindled off, was when that character came in, because I did not enjoy the way that character was narrated. And so I'm glad that I had the ebook available. I really enjoyed reading the rest of this book and enjoyed the experience up until where I decided, okay, this audiobook is just not working for me. This case was really interesting. We get multiple POVs, and so we not only get point of view from Harriet Foster, but we get points of view from multiple possible suspects. And so I thought that was very well done in this book. The way the author made you think about who could possibly be the suspect really made it hard for me to try to figure out who I thought who the suspect was. At the beginning of this book, you're kind of thrown an obvious suspect. And for me, with mysteries and thrillers, the obvious suspect is usually never the right suspect. It's very rare that the one that's thrown out and is like focused on the most is the actual suspect. But the way the author throws in so many other different possibilities for suspects really made it difficult for me to try to figure out who it could be. And so I really enjoyed that. It's something that's really rare for me with mysteries nowadays because I've read so many of them. I can usually pick out who the suspect is. In this case, I had a really hard time. There were so many things going through my mind about, okay, it's plausible that it's this person because of this, this, and this. It's plausible that it's this person because of this, this, and this. And for a moment, I definitely honed in on a certain person. I will tell you that I was wrong, but that person is still very suspicious to me. So I'm wondering if, like, we'll see that person again. But I was very, very pleased with how this first book ended up for me. The stakes were pretty high towards the end. There was a lot of things going on, and I really enjoyed how the book closed out. I am curious as far as what happens in the very last few pages of this book, what will come of that. Maybe in future installments, maybe not. But I am very happy with how things ended up. I'm very happy with the partner that she's with currently, which I guess could be a spoiler. But I don't feel like it's really an important one. But if you feel that that's too spoilery for you, I apologize. But yes, I much prefer her current partner. And I'm looking forward to seeing what other cases Harriet Foster and her partner investigate in the next installment, which unfortunately is not slated to come out until like December or January. I think it's January. Oh, that's a really long time. But I will be continuing to the next one. I ended up giving this one 4 stars. And we'll be continuing to the next installment. So I did enjoy that. I'm glad that I read one of my Kindle First Reads picks because I did pick this one up as a Kindle First Read. And a lot of the Kindle First Reads books that I haven't read. And a lot of times I don't really feel like the urge to read them because they're usually available on Kindle Unlimited after the fact. So yeah, I'm glad I got one of those books off of my shelves. That was recommended by Troy at Troy Towell, who was a founder of March Mystery Madness. He had talked about this book in, I believe it was his March Mystery Madness wrap-up or one of the more recent videos that he's done where he was wrapping up some of the books that he's read. And he had talked about this book, which made me pull it up on my priority list. And so, yes, I enjoyed it as well. I do recommend it, especially if you like this type of story, and I thought it was really interesting. I think I read one other thing in May, which was volume 2 of Can't Stop Cursing You. This has art by Natsuko Uruma, original story by Kensuke Koba, published by Yen Press, rated older teen. So Can't Stop Cursing You is a series that takes place in a world where there are curse breakers and curse killers. I think those are the terms. So our character here on the cover is a curse breaker. And this is kind of an episodic series where each volume has a different case. And we follow our curse breaker going through and trying to figure out who is placing curse killings on people. And so, yeah, I really enjoyed the first one. I enjoyed this second one. We're again getting a different case. This case was really interesting. There's definitely more of an entourage of people in this particular case. And so that made it more interesting for me. He has an assistant now. And so having the assistant try to help out and figure out clues and things, I enjoyed that. Also, the assistant was also there in the first volume, but he wasn't really like an assistant, but he's definitely an assistant here. And I'm really curious about the organization that creates these curse killers or makes those pacts with them. I really enjoy how our curse breaker goes about figuring out the cases and uses his ability to figure out cases as well, because he definitely has an ability that is used throughout the first volume and this one. And so, yeah, I really enjoyed this one. The reason for the curse killings was pretty interesting in this one. And so I'm looking forward to continuing with this series. This series had a lapse in publication, and so it's been quite a long time since we got volume 4, I think, because I think I have the third one on my shelf. But that's kind of why I halted reading this one, because I don't like to get up to date with a series and then have to wait. Especially when you have a mysterious series like this where there's an ongoing mystery and each volume kind of gives you pieces to the puzzle. So yes, I really enjoyed this one. Definitely recommend this one, especially for you mystery readers. I think you'd enjoy that one if you enjoy like a supernatural-ish mystery. I would say this series has like supernatural stuff on the low end, though. It's mostly you're dealing with regular people, day-to-day people. The supernatural bits are like low, so even if you're like not into real heavy supernatural stuff, I think you'd still enjoy this one because it's more regular everyday to day people and a slight hint of supernatural element to it. Yes, really enjoyed that. And then I have 2 reads for the month of June that I have finished. So I am participating in the Manga Pride Readathon, which is being hosted by my friend Bizarre Individual, Dynamic Dylan, and It's Rachel. So I'll link a announcement video down in the description box below in case you are interested in participating. But basically the theme of the readathon is to read LGBTQIA plus manga throughout the month. There is a bingo board which you can read too if you would like to, but it's not necessary. I usually read and then try to fit what I wanted to read into the bingo board. And so yes, that's how I approach it. But I have finished 2 volumes of manga for the Manga Pride Readathon. The first volume was volume 2 of Our Not So Lonely Planet Travel Guide. This is by Mone Sorai, published by Tokyo Pop, rated teen. So in this series, we're following our 2 male characters here. This is a Boys Love or BL series. Our 2 characters here on the cover are a couple. And let me see if I can... Yes. This first paragraph here is basically the gist of the series. So, super serious Asahi Suzumura and easygoing Mitsuki Sayama may seem like an odd couple, but they made a deal. They'll vacation together around the world, and when they return to Japan, they'll get married. So basically, we follow this couple going on a trip around the world. The first volume of this series, they traveled to places that I had no idea about. I don't really see those places in the media that I consume. And so it was really interesting. You obviously get introduced to the local landmarks and eateries, foods, and things like that. And so it was really interesting. For me, this volume, though, volume 2, was much more interesting to me because the places that they go to here are places that I have interest in traveling to, whereas in volume 1, they weren't countries that I was interested in traveling to. And so, yes, I much preferred the sights and scenes and foods of this volume. Also, what's interesting about this series is that somewhere within their travels in each volume, they either meet people that they had known, like previous friends and things, or acquaintances, or they make friends with new people and end up like having an extended stay with them, or they make quick friends with some people and go on extra adventures. So it's really, really interesting. It kind of gives that home away from home feel because the people that they have come across in these volumes, our couple kind of enriches their lives, and the people that they meet also enrich our couple's lives. And so I really enjoy that aspect as well, besides the delicious looking foods and seeing all the sights and things. In this one, they go to France, Germany, Italy, and Finland. Very, very different sights between the two volumes, but I enjoy watching our couple. They're not overly PDA type people because of the fact that they're traveling. They don't like to show public displays of affection because, you know, different countries are different in how they view LGBTQIA plus people. And so to be safe, they don't act like a couple in public. But there are definitely sweet, tender moments between our couple when they're in their hotel room. There's no sexual content. It's very, very clean, very pure. They share a kiss or two type thing. Both of our characters kind of have dealt with illnesses during the first and this volume. I'm kind of feeling like one of our characters has an underlying medical issue. And so that kind of comes up in both volumes. But I really, really enjoyed this one. I'm looking forward to seeing where they're going on their next adventures. And I really enjoy our couple and all of the people that they come across throughout their travels, and seeing all of the foods that they eat and seeing all of the sights. It's just really, really interesting. I ended up giving this one 4 stars. I definitely intend on picking up volume 3. Probably when I go to the Barnes & Noble for the Monochrome Manga Club meeting later this month. But I will definitely be continuing this series and really, really enjoyed this volume. I ended up using this one for the blue cover prompt on the board, the bingo board. I figured those prompts are probably going to be the hardest for me to fill. And so I'm trying to fit my reads in on the color prompts first. If it doesn't fit for one of those, and then I'll try to put it in somewhere else. But this one definitely blue cover fit. And then the last thing that I read, I just finished very early this morning, is I Want to Be a Wall Volume 2. This is by Honami Shirono, published by Yen Press, rated older teen. So in this series, we follow our couple here on the cover. Our female character is asexual, aromantic, and our male character is gay. And they have entered into a marriage of convenience. Neither one of their families know about their sexualities. At the beginning of the first volume, they're just newly married. You don't know how they met or anything like that. And they're just trying to navigate this new relationship. They're trying to figure out how to live together and be the best partner for the other in this unconventional relationship. In this volume, we get their backstory. We get how they ended up where they are, married to each other. We see them meeting for the first time. We also take a trip with our couple in this one. And between the two volumes, there definitely is a story about our two characters here just getting to know each other and trying to be the best partner that they can for the other. And I really, really enjoy this series. It's very wholesome. It's a little bit heartbreaking with the fact that our male character definitely has feelings for somebody who he has harbored for a while, and it just tugs at my heart how he just keeps that to himself. But now that he has a partner, he can share that with somebody else, so it kind of lifts that burden for him a little bit. One of our female characters' previous friends from university also pops by for a visit, and so seeing and hearing their banter and the things that they bonded on, and also hearing about our female character's history of how she figured out her sexuality was also very interesting. I really like the art style as well. It's kind of cutesy and very, very sweet. The story is very sweet. Lots of smiling in this volume too. Lots of excitement over the trip and the theme of the trip, and our female character's hobby. She's a BL enthusiast. She really enjoys reading BL manga, and Gakurota, our male character here, is just learning about BL. I'm just really enjoying the journey that we're being taken on with these two characters. It's a very, very sweet story. I'm looking forward to the third volume, and I wish these volumes were thicker because I just want to spend more time with them. I just really, really enjoy their story and seeing how they go about their day and the things that they do to try to be the best partner they can for the other is just so sweet. And so I really enjoyed this one. Gave it 4 stars. Definitely looking forward to the next volume. And that is everything that I have read since I talked to you last. So, as far as what I am currently reading, I did jump into Shadow Fever, which is the 5th book in the Fever series. This says a Michaela Lane novel down here. I have digital copies of the first 4 books. So this book I was actually sent by my friend Janaea. I'd won one of her giveaways. So thanks, Janaea, for sending this one along to me. I had specifically asked for a paperback copy because I prefer paperbacks and mass market to boot. This is a thick one. This is, let me see. Oh, it looks like there's a preview for something in the back. Oh, it's acknowledgments. 671 pages. And so, yes, this is going to take me a while. But I had to jump into this right after I finished Dreamfever because, as I had mentioned, Dreamfever ends with something happening. And I didn't think that what had happened was actually what happened. I'm trying not to be spoilery. I have read up to chapter 5 so far. So I'm on page 58. And so far, I haven't been clarified on what had ended in the 4th book. I am almost positive that what had happened is actually not what happened. But I need to read some more to get to that point where it's actually clarified for me. It's okay right now. It's okay. I think our character, Mac, is in shock at what had happened up until this point, and she is handling things the best she can in the situation that she's in, but I don't agree with some of the things she's already done in these first 50 pages. So yeah, there's that. But anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing how this first arc ends. I'm having a hard time though, because this is urban fantasy, and so is this. And I am buddy reading this with my friend Amy from A Star Reads. This is The House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. This is the first book in the Crescent City series. And Amy and I have been talking for a while about buddy reading this together. And so we had it scheduled for this month. We're going to take it really slow though, because Amy's got some things going on in her life, and this book is like 800 pages. And so we have a schedule, I have been reading about 2 chapters a night. And so I am currently on chapter 8, page 93. This is my first Sarah J. Maas book. And I thought of all of the series that Sarah J. Maas wrote, this would be the best one for me to start with because there is a mystery element to it. So this is, I believe it's new adult or adult. This is a story where we're following our main character, Bryce, and she is kind of just going along with her day-to-day at the beginning of this book. She has a best friend named Danica. They have history together. They had gone to university and became the best of friends. And where I'm at right now, a person who had been put away by Danica and her pack, Danica is a werewolf, ends up getting released on a technicality. And so there's a little bit of anger, there's a little bit of concern for retaliation and things like that. But basically, Danica and Bryce are just two young 20-somethings living it up. Like, living it up. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Something really terrible has happened at the end of where I just finished reading, and things are definitely going to take a turn. I think that's all I'm going to say right now. It's okay for me right now. I'm entertained. I'm interested in what's going on. These last couple chapters were the best ones for me because the pacing of what happened really picked up for me. But I'm having a hard time with her writing style. So she has the type of writing style, I think, based on the 90-something pages that I have read, where she tells you something but doesn't explain everything. You'll find out later type of storytelling, and I don't like that type of storytelling. There are several things that have come up where I just don't understand what she's referencing. There's like a 4-letter like something that's come up where I think it stands for something, but am I supposed to know what that stands for? Because I don't know what those 4 letters stand for. I don't have any frame of reference. As far as I know, this world is not connected to her previous series, but I kind of feel like she expects me as the reader to know certain things that I just don't know. I just don't know. And so this state of confusion that I'm in is really, really bugging me. It's really bugging me, and I'm trying not to let it get to me. But I'm really glad that I have Amy there to like talk things over with, because there are just times where I think it's just me. And in talking with Amy on what we've read so far, I realized that I'm not the only one that's confused about certain things. But she has read more fantasy than I have. And so I think she'll be able to help me out with some of the things that I may feel confused with. I'm definitely going to have to go look some things up already. Like there was a reference to something in the last couple of chapters, and I don't know what that something is. I don't think that I'm going to be able to find out what those 4 letters mean, but I'm hoping that sometime later in the series, or at least in this book, I will know what those 4 letters mean. But we're also dealing with angels at this point where I am, or at least they've been introduced, and I have no reference for anything religious. And so, yeah, I'm wondering if that's going to be a hindrance to me as well. But it's still interesting. There's lots of different species of fantastical creatures being mentioned in this series already. And so I'm very interested to see how this world works. There's mention of the houses. Obviously, this is House of Earth and Blood. I don't know what they have to do with society at this point where I am, and that's kind of bugging me as well. Like, there's obvious mentions of pros and cons and certain people belonging to certain houses because it just makes sense. And it's like, no, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand. So yeah, I feel like the author expects you to know certain things, and I just don't know these things. So it's a little bit of a letdown, but I'm trying to let it slide off my back. I am enjoying it so far, though. I think with what just happened where I finished my chapters last night, things should definitely pick up for me, at least as far as the investigation, because this is a mystery. And so I'm looking forward to seeing where we go from here. And I'm looking forward to chatting more with Amy about what comes up in this story as we go. So, yes, I try to read 2 chapters of this every night, but by the time I read that and read my volume of manga for the night, because I'm trying to also participate in the Manga Pride Readathon, I'm already too tired to pick up something else at night. So I'm having a bit of a difficulty, especially because I have an audiobook for Crescent City or House of Earth and Blood, but I'm trying not to listen to it because Amy doesn't have the audiobook. So I want to have like a similar experience as we're reading. I did listen after the fact. So I read the first 2 chapters, I let her know my thoughts. I read the next 2 chapters, I let her know my thoughts. And then I listened to the first 4 chapters. Because there were a couple names of things or people that I wasn't sure how they were supposed to be pronounced. So I did re-listen to those first 4 chapters from the audiobook that I have. And that definitely helped me with pronunciation, because I do find that times where I don't know how certain names or things are supposed to be pronounced, when I come across that as I'm reading, it makes me stop and like look for an extended amount of time to make sure that I'm pronouncing things. And so it makes my reading experience a little bit jerky. But yeah, that definitely helped. It was as I thought it was supposed to be pronounced, so that was great. And so yeah. So I don't have like audiobooks. I don't have an audiobook for this. None of the books that I have for my TBR game this month I have an audiobook for. So I'm having a bit of a hard time because I like to have an audiobook on the go. And so I actually did finish an audiobook this week. I finished Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. I started my reread of this series earlier this year, and I just taken a bit of a break. I have these audiobooks. I just haven't experienced them in a while, and so this is just a reread for me, a re-listen. I enjoy the audiobooks. I enjoy the narrator. Prisoner of Azkaban is not my favorite. I ended up giving this one 3 stars. And yeah, I think that's all there is to say. So now I need to find a new audiobook. I may just continue with Harry Potter to just finish out the series reread of it. I'm not really like knowing what I want to listen to right now. And like I said, none of the books that I have for my TBR game have audiobooks. And I don't want to listen to the audiobook of House of Earth and Blood without having read those chapters first. So that makes it a little bit difficult to just let the audiobook play during my lunch break. I really need to be like in tune with where the chapter endings are, and I am not usually the best about remembering where it says chapter 4 or chapter 5. I usually just like listen and, you know, take in what I can. I don't like hone in on like where it says the chapter markers. So yeah, I may just continue with Goblet of Fire this week, but we'll see. I may pick up something else. I just don't know what I'm feeling like. But since I don't have a lunch break until Monday, I'm just kind of leaving it open until I figure out what I might want to listen to on Monday. So yeah, that's everything that I have read so far. At least where I'm reading. So really quickly, we'll go through my knitting update. I'm sure you saw it in the thumbnail, but I did take out my love note. I put in 2 rows. So that's nothing to show you. So I'm not showing that to you this week, but I have made some progress on my Demon Slayer sock. So the colorway is Demon Slayer from Hawari Bazaar. This was the May 2022 Anime Yarn Club. So I like to purchase the yarn clubs from Hawari Bazaar. I don't purchase them all. I only purchase them if I have some knowledge of the series. And so, yeah. Demon Slayer, I thought it was a great time to wind this one up and use it, considering I had finished Demon Slayer last month. And so, yes, really, really like this. I had no idea that it was going to stripe like this. So I said before that I was going to do a pattern, an original pattern, and I tried it and it just did not work. Did not work with the colorway. It made the colors really like distorted, and so I just went with a 3x1 broken rib. So all of my Anime Yarn Club socks will look like this. They'll be 3x1 broken rib with a heel flap, square heel turn, and gusset. And so, yeah, so far, this is where I have. I was here where I showed you last. So I've done all of the leg, the heel flap, the heel turn, and now I'm working my way down the foot. So I did take the sock off of the circular needle to do the heel flap. I used a double pointed short needle to do the heel flap and the heel turn, and then I reattached the circular needle when I was ready to pick up the heel flap. And so, yes, so far really, really enjoying this, and am really liking how this has turned out. And so, yes, that's all that I have knit on this week. And then I have a small book haul to share with you. And so, yes, I did buy 3 copies of Cherish, which is the 6th book in the Crave series by Tracy Wolff. Now, before you ask why I bought 3 copies, I know I've told you before, but these are special edition copies. So each copy has different end papers and different bonus content. So I just got my one from Walmart today. So it says Walmart exclusive. This is not a sticker. It's actually printed onto the cover. It says only at Walmart exclusive bonus content. And the top here is different on all of the copies as well. So this one says Throwing Shade. The end papers are from the Shadow Realm, or supposedly. I'm a little bit confused because that kind of looks like a KA in there, which to me in this series stands for Catmere Academy. But I could have sworn they said it was going to be Shadow Realm paper. And then the bonus content is supposed to be just some extra content. I don't think it's specifically Shadow Realm-esque. But it does say Welcome to the Shadow Realm at the end. So before the bonus content. So bonus content from the Shadow Realm in this one. Got the exclusive edition from Target. And this one also has this thing. Bonus exclusive content only at Target. This one at the top here says Suck It Up. And they have Vampire Court papers in this one. And this one has Vampire Court bonus content. So I believe the extra bonus chapters have to do with one of the vampire characters, if not more of them. And then I have the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. This one says All's Fire in Love and War, with the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. That is a sticker. This one has Dragon Court Papers. It's got Dragon Court Papers, and the extra content is supposedly with one of the dragon characters that we have in this series. So, yes, I did buy 3 copies. The only one that I did not get was the Witch Court. The spines don't look any different on any of these. So the Witch Court copy was a Books A Million exclusive, and that supposedly has Witch Court end papers and exclusive bonus content with one of the witch characters from the series. I could have ordered one of them online, but all of these copies were on sale for like $16.99 or something. Books A Millions was full price. And so I had already told myself before I even looked at Books A Million that I probably didn't need the Witch Court edition because I wasn't really like connected to the witch character. I'm thinking it can only be one. So yeah, I wasn't really interested in extra bonus content with that character. But yeah, I still don't think I need it. I'm very happy with my 3 copies. I'm much more connected to the dragon characters, the vampire characters, and finding out what the extra content is for the Shadow Realm, which is where our characters are going in this installment. This is the last book of this series, so I'm looking forward to spending a little bit more time with our entourage and seeing how this series ends up. I did also purchase my audiobook copy from Audible using one of my credits, so I'm good to go on that. But again, this is urban fantasy. I don't want to read this alongside House of Earth and Blood and Shadow Fever. I want this to be like a independent experience because I have enjoyed this series so much this year that I don't want anything to get in the way of my reading experience of this book. So I'm going to wait until I'm done with my read along of Shadow Fever and House of Earth and Blood and then start this. If I cannot start this till July, I cannot start this until July. But I think that is just what will give me the best experience to finish out this series and enjoy the end of being with these characters. Now, there is going to be a spin-off series which will follow another character that we were introduced to in book 4, I believe. And so I'm really looking forward to that as well. And so, yes, it's not the end of this world, but it will be kind of the end of seeing these characters in installment after installment after installment. So I'm really looking forward to whenever I get to this, but I am ready for that reread when I get to it. And so, yeah, that is everything that I have read through this week, everything that I knit on, and not everything I bought, but book related and yarn related, that's what I have for you this week. So, yeah, I don't think there's anything else to share with you. It's just been kind of a normal week. As far as work goes, as far as anything else goes, we finished watching all of our season finales on the TV shows that we were watching. So we started our rewatch of the Fast and Furious series movies. And so we watched the Fast and Furious last night, and we will continue to rewatch those movies so that we can get to Fast 10 eventually. I think we're just going to wait until it's out on DVD or Blu-ray. I think by the time we finish our rewatch, it shouldn't be much longer. That's even if we like watch back to back to back. And then we have started a watch of Castle, the TV show. We were watching like episodes on the television. It was airing while we were in Florida on one of the television stations, and my uncle really got into it. And so it had been a series that was kind of on my radar for years, but I just never watched it. We always had other shows that were playing at the same time. And so, yeah, we watched some of the episodes while we were at our hotel room in Florida and really enjoyed it. And so we have started watching Castle. We've watched 3 episodes. I have enjoyed that. And it's making me kind of want to read that series also. It's based on a series of books. And so, yeah, just enjoying what I can, when I can, and participating in a manga readathon, which is always enjoyable, and doing a couple of buddy reads. So that's always a good time. And I think that's all I've got for you this week. It's kind of a long one again because I had a lot to wrap up. But I hope that you guys have all had a really great end of May. Let me know what you enjoyed the most as far as your reads go, or what you enjoyed the least. How many books did you end up reading in the month of May? And are you participating in the Manga Pride Readathon? I would really love to know. And if nothing else, and you'd just like to let me know that you were here, if you could leave me a crown or some kind of royal emoji down in the comments below, that would be greatly appreciated. That would really help me out, and that will do it for me today. So I hope you're all doing great. I hope you're all safe and healthy. And until next time, take care and smile always. Bye.